If you were a movie producer and somebody pitched a film about a tentacled alien that could shapeshift, become invisible, and shoot a blinding cloud of chemicals at its enemies, you'd just sigh and say, no, that's an octopus. We take it for granted that there are a few million creatures like that floating around. At some point, science jumped into the backseat of creation and let nightmarish curiosity take a drive for a while. But even among the world's most bizarre creatures, there are extremes. Atolla Jellyfish. Atolla jellyfish are pretty common. They've been found in every ocean of the world, but they're not something you're likely to come across at the beach because they usually live over 700 meters, 2,200 feet below the surface. Like many deep-sea creatures, they're bioluminescent. They light up like fireflies. But atollas don't use their lights to capture prey like anglerfish do. They use them to escape. If an atolla is caught by a predator, it emits a frenzy of bright pulses, like a strobe light. The light show attracts even bigger fish, which will go for the atolla's attacker, giving it a chance to get away. Antarctic Ice Fish. These are extremophiles, animals that live in extreme conditions. As the name suggests, they're found in the deep waters around Antarctica, usually in temperatures lower than 0 degrees Celsius and at depths of up to a kilometer, about 3,300 feet. They're completely colorless. Even their blood is transparent. They still have blood, but it doesn't contain any hemoglobin, a protein in red blood cells that transports oxygen and gives blood its redness. They're the only vertebrates in the world with this characteristic, and researchers are still trying to figure out why the ice fish developed it in the first place. Emperor shrimp. The tiny, colorful emperor shrimp looks more like a piece of candy than a living thing. Actually, we have no idea why they're so colorful. It's possible that they just have no need for camouflage. Emperor shrimp live almost exclusively on the backs of a type of sea slug known as nudibranch. Blue dragon sea slug. Most animals eat animals that are smaller than them. It's just the way the world works. The blue dragon, on the other hand, laughs in the face of reason and goes straight for the biggest, most dangerous creatures it can find, like the Portuguese man-o'-war, and if none of those are around, other blue dragons. When viewed from below against the water's surface, they look something like a spider walking on a mirror. They just float wherever the waves take them, eating anything they run into. Philomer picta. The Philomer picta is a species of sea slug that lives in warm, subtropical waters, particularly around the Mediterranean Sea and the Gulf of Mexico. There are 6 different subspecies of Hypsilodrus, and they're actually a subsection of the nudibranch sea slug, all of which are completely ridiculous. Nudibranchs are fairly small, typically only growing to about 20 centimeters, 8 inches, although there have been a few recorded nudibranchs that were longer than 64 centimeters, 25 inches. They're mollusks like snails, but instead of using shells for protection, they have a few other tricks up their colorful sleeves, like sweating acid. If that's not alien enough, we don't know what is. Gorgonian Rapper. The waters of the Indo-Pacific hold some of the most diverse marine life on the planet, including the Gorgonian Rapper. The Gorgonian Rapper is a sea anemone. So yes, that terrifying thing is a predator, and it's as ruthless as it looks. Anemones, like the Gorgonian Rapper, produce something called nidicite, which is essentially a small, toxic shrapnel grenade. Nidicite cells line the tentacles of anemones, and when a fish brushes against one, or millions of them, a trigger activates and the cell explodes, sending paralyzing harpoons into the fish. The biological process that fires the anemone's venom is one of the fastest reactions in the animal kingdom. Wonderpus. With one of the best Latin names in the animal kingdom, Wonderpus photogenicus is a rare predatory octopus found off the coast of the Philippines. The name comes from the fact that people like taking pictures of them. They're photogenic. But kittens are photogenic, and the Wonderpus is anything but cuddly. They're crepuscular hunters. They hunt at dawn and twilight. They stalk prey by creeping along the seabed on long, flattened tentacles. In stealth mode, their bright coloring fades until they blend in with the sand and coral. but try to attack one and suddenly becomes a violent blaze of red and orange, warning predators to stay away. Lionfish. There are 10 species of lionfish, and it goes without saying that they're one of the most recognizable types of fish in the world. Savagely beautiful and incredibly dangerous. All 10 species are native to the Indian Ocean and Southern Pacific, although 2 species were introduced to the east coast of North America in the 90s. This is turning out to be a problem because they breed like underwater rabbits and have no natural predators. In fact, the population explosion has gotten so bad that researchers in Honduras are actually trying to train sharks to eat lionfish. Normally, sharks won't even go near the things. Right now, the only real danger to these predators is, ironically, themselves. In the absence of food, lionfish will eat each other. Giant Scifonophel. Visually, this thing doesn't look like much, but you need a sense of scale to really appreciate the giant Scifonophel. They live in the deep sea and can reach lengths of more than 40 meters, 130 feet. That's the height of a 13-story building and longer than a blue whale. But the giant Scifonophel isn't really a single animal per se. It's actually a colony of millions of creatures called zooids. Bobbittworm. The Bobbittworm can grow up to 3 meters long, 10 feet. It burrows into the seabed, leaving a small portion of itself above the surface. When a fish wanders by, the worm lunges out, snags the fish, and with its massive pincers, drags it underground. Most specimens haven't been found in the ocean, but accidentally stowed away in saltwater aquariums. They hitchhike into the aquarium in rocks and gravel taken from the ocean, then slowly grow under the radar.